So you go to a hospital for an emergency and you ask them, hey, you take my insurance? And they say, yeah, we sure do. But what they might not tell you is this: that surgeon about to remove a body part of yours, nope, doesn't take your insurance. Oh, and by the way, when you don't pay the bill, or a bill much higher than the going rate for insurance, you're gonna get sued. See a lien placed on your home, maybe even a little wage garnishment to boot. Think that could never happen? Well, you should probably talk to her, or him, or her, or him, or him, or her.
I got taken advantage of.
We're gonna tell you who this is happening to, why this is happening, and most importantly, what you can do to fight back.
Consider it a curious game of odds, numbers, and chance. Visit a hospital these days, and you too might find yourself playing. Here's how. Say you're insured and the hospital is in network with your health insurance. You're good, right? Not necessarily. What about the ER doc?
Going to have to operate.
Or that surgical assistant? Or that surgeon who's about to extract, here we go, your badly infected appendix? Months later, you might learn that surgeon was not in network and now wants thousands your insurance never paid. Turns out not all people who work in hospitals work for hospitals. Some are essentially subcontractors, free to take whatever insurance they choose. Some choose not to accept any insurance and are thus free to demand whatever they believe they're worth. Some seek less, while others want more. Sometimes a lot. Sometimes your insurance will pay all of it, sometimes some of it, and sometimes none of it, leaving you to pay the rest. Here's why this matters. This year, the federal government concluded 4 out of 10 of all Americans could not afford to immediately pay off an unexpected $400 bill. Surprise bills we've seen from out-of-network surgeons, for example, often run at least 10 times that. And people who can't pay find themselves facing collectors willing to sue, garnish wages, and place liens on homes to ensure payments. A game indeed, turning any unexpected hospital visit into the equivalent of a trip to a casino on the Vegas Strip. This story starts with a phone call, a tip.
But there's nothing I can do.
A tip about a home. That home down there.
I got taken advantage of.
The home owned by Nicole and Jeff Briggs.
There's a right and a wrong.
Yeah.
And this is definitely the wrong.
A few years ago, Nicole went here, Swedish Medical Center, for a suspected appendicitis.
Told them I was coming, verified they took my insurance.
A few years later, the appendectomy resulted in a lien on their home.
We had no idea. We were being completely blindsided by all this.
Think of a lien like a legal claim to a property that forces the owner to pay off a debt before selling or refinancing. It's an aggressive move used to get people to pay delinquent taxes, child support, or in this case, a $4,700 medical bill, not from the hospital, but from the surgeon.
The hospital took my insurance, but the doctor did not.
Not that they knew that. No one here bothered to tell them, hey, you know that on-call surgeon working that night? Nope, doesn't take your insurance, he's out of network. Oh, and by the way, when he does charge you, he's going to demand.
Just sent us to collections.
Yeah.
That was it.
Demand, thanks to this lien, an amount 5 times what Medicare would pay.
So now we have to pay off somehow this debt to figure this out.
And we found more.
They put a lien on your home.
Yep.
A lot more.
You followed the rules.
I did.
And you still
Ended up in court, still ended up in collections, still ended up with a lien on my house.
Liens sometimes placed so quietly, not even the owner knew it was there.
What'd you think when I told you there was a lien on your place?
I said, wow, I had no idea.
Each placed to try to settle 4-figure debts owed to surgeons who performed unplanned surgeries
Appendicitis, found out.
in otherwise in-network hospitals.
The surgeon was billing out of network, yeah.
The doctor that performed the surgery was out of network.
More than a dozen surgeons working in at least 8 Colorado hospitals, all tied to one collections company, Colorado Springs-based Credit Systems, Inc. We searched metro area county records and found more than 170 liens placed by Credit Systems since the start of last year. Liens like the one.
I had a lap chole, my gallbladder removed.
The one placed on Melody Montano's home.
You don't ask, as you're being wheeled into the operating room, oh, are you in my network for my health insurance?
As was the case with the others, her surgeon was out of network. Her insurance company paid him this much, and then told her she'd have to pay this much. And then told the surgeon right there, Melody should not be liable for additional charges. Didn't stop the doctor from sending her a bill for the rest.
I work, I'm a single mother. I have, mortgage. So, yeah,
Unable to collect on the debt,
it's hard.
Credit Systems put a lien on her home.
You had to come up with a way to pay this off on your own.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
Yep. It affected a lot.
A national database of insurance claims, Fair Health, says the average in-network payment for a gallbladder removal in Colorado, $1,233. The average out-of-network payment for the surgery, $2,600. Her surgeon wanted her and her insurance company to pay more than double that.
It affects your whole life. It affects your credit. It affects everything.
And even though the debt is now paid in full, Credit Systems has yet to pull the lien. Why? We can't say.
Hi, Ruth. This is Chris Vanderveen.
The company has yet to respond to any of my inquiries. As for Nicole, the lien on her and her husband's home is now older than their firstborn child. They'd love to move, but can't until the lien is paid in full.
You're just like, well, I'm here to tell you that I feel like I don't owe it. And they're like, no, you owe it. How are you going to pay that? That's
Yeah.
it. That's all there is to it.
We wanted to know what Nicole's surgeon, Dr. Emmett McGuire, thought of the lien on the home of his former patient. So we stopped by his office.
I'm looking for Dr. McGuire.
They are in meetings all day.
Okay. Can I leave a message for him?
Sure.
Nothing. Texted him. Nothing. No response. And finally, when I did reach him on a cell one day,
Dr. McGuire.
he wanted nothing to do with me, even threatened to block my number, something Nicole might now like to do to his collections company. Over the summer, it started garnishing her wages. After court fees and interest, she now owes even more for a surgery done by a surgeon she never knew, never chose.
I hope you're happy. I hope you had something great you could spend this $6,000 on. Because it's ruined our lives.
Welcome everyone. Today's Wednesday, April 18th.
Around here,
We only have one bill on our agenda for today.
you might consider necessity the mother of dissension.
But this bill is not the answer.
For years, Colorado patients have told legislators of the need.
It must have been a mistake.
The need for more protection from surprise medical bills.
In December, I received a notice from a collections company.
Since 2015, not once.
That motion fails 4-5.
Not once has any surprise billing legislation made it out of committee.
No, that fails 3-2.
This bill isn't necessary right now.
Fails on a vote of 3-2.
And onto the Senate floor. A failure that continues to result in consequences for people like
I'm actually studying to be a nurse.
nursing school student Emmy Kamei.
I'm not sure. I have a feeling of uncertainty right now. That's really not a good place to be.
When we met her inside the Adams County Courthouse, she owed more than $10,000 to Dr. Emmett McGuire.
The surgeon that performed the surgery was out of network.
Out of network, working inside North Suburban Medical Center, a hospital she chose because it was in network with her insurance. When she couldn't afford to pay Dr. McGuire, his collections company sued her before offering her in the courtroom's hallway a deal she had no choice but to refuse.
They wanted $500 a month in payment.
Or more than her part-time job pays.
There's no way I can pay $500 a month right now.
The attorney suing her is Ruth Sharp. She works for a collections company known as Credit Systems, Inc., a company with an eagle grasping cash on its website. When people don't pay, Sharp has placed liens on homes, more than 170 since the start of last year. We spent months trying to ask her questions.
Can I ask you just about some balanced billing laws in the state of Colorado?
I cannot talk to you about any cases I am involved in.
I'm not asking you about cases. I'm asking you about the balanced billing law in the state of Colorado.
When we found her in the courthouse, we tried to ask a few more.
Are you familiar with the law? Ruth, are you familiar with the law?
Not talk to you.
Why are you not talking to us? Ruth, why can't you talk to us? So she wouldn't say why she sues on behalf of so many surgeons. But we know this. In the state of Colorado, the law lets her do this. She could sue you for thousands, put a lien on your home, all for a surgery done inside a hospital you chose. a surgery done by a surgeon who you had no way of knowing didn't take your insurance.
But consumers are the ones that are really hurt by this.
Republican State Senator Bob Gardner has twice co-sponsored legislation to protect patients from so-called surprise bills.
Consumers are often caught in the middle.
Senator Hill?
No.
Senator Jones?
Yes.
Last session, his most recent bill died on a 3-2 vote in committee.
No.
Why? 3-2. He replied by offering a who.
If the Colorado Medical Society supports the legislation that you had last year, does it get passed through the committee?
I think that's likely.
Yes, the Colorado Medical Society, or CMS, the state's largest organization of doctors, some of whom continue to aggressively go after out-of-network bills. Gardner's Democratic co-sponsor was even more blunt about CMS's role.
Who killed your bill last year?
CMS.
Representative Danae Esker says the problem remains a problem because those in power like where they are.
If you start to shake anything up too much and you threaten that profitability one way or another, a lot of people stand up and say no way.
Last session, CMS spent $200,000 lobbying Colorado legislators. It's contributed $80,000 to the re-election campaigns of the 14 senators who have killed surprise billing legislation. It has a strong voice around here, a stronger one than their patients, says Esker.
They have more money to pay more people to be here to talk to more legislators.
And they like talking to legislators.
Absolutely.
Why is nothing happening?
I think nothing is happening because of the politics involved.
CMS Attorney John Conklin insists CMS wants a solution here, just not the solution suggested last year.
I'd say that the bill was introduced very late in the session, and it didn't accomplish what the Medical Society would like to see accomplished on this issue.
When asked what CMS would support, he said legislation that keeps patients away from surprise bills by forcing insurance companies to pay surgeons directly. Something insurance companies will likely fight because they'll likely have to pay more.
Yes.
And that is something Kame knows all too well herself. She offered Sharp $100 a month, all she could afford, she said. Sharp said no.
And she said that would take 12 years. And there was no, I guess I was too long for them.
She now faces what others in Colorado have faced for years, wage garnishments, maybe even a lien on her home.
Are those people just out of luck because the legislature and the medical society and insurance companies can't figure this out? They're just out of luck?
Those people are caught in a complex, very unfortunate situation.
Should doctors be putting liens on homes?
The doctors are utilizing the current system that we have.
He came to Swedish Medical Center hoping, expecting to get better.
Pretty much knew right away what it was, appendicitis.
He left, never envisioning.
Yeah, I assumed it was some kind of mistake.
The visit would result in a lien on his Littleton home.
You have insurance, you have an emergency, it should be taken care of.
Emmett Malone's insurance covered the hospital bill, but no one told him the on-call surgeon had no contract with his insurance. And so when Malone's insurance decided to pay her a fraction of the total bill, the surgeon's billing company billed Malone for the balance.
I honestly didn't know that was even possible.
And when Malone refused to pay nearly $4,000, a collections company sued him and eventually placed this lien on his home.
Apparently that's what they're allowed to do, which is crazy.
Why would a surgeon working in their hospital not accept the same insurance plans they accept? We asked Swedish. They refused to say on camera. We did manage to ask the same question of the Colorado Hospital Association.
Unequivocally, hospitals want to find a solution to this problem.
Catherine Mulready says most hospitals don't employ most of the doctors who work within their walls. They work independently and thus are free to accept or not accept whatever insurance they choose. An issue, she says, leaves even the hospitals unaware of who is in network and who is not.
I don't know that we have any ability to track that kind of thing. It's certainly not the ability to track it in any sort of real time. So we don't know actually how big that problem might be.
Should you try to figure it out?
It's not information that we have access to.
What we did have access to is this. At Swedish, 5 of the 7 doctors who work inside this emergency general surgery and trauma department have used the same collections company that's placed liens on a lot of homes. By 9 wants to knows count, more than 170 homes since the start of last year, including the lien on the home of Emmett Malone.
I was actually relieved to hear that I wasn't the only one that this has been happening to.
To make matters more perplexing, Swedish is owned by Health One, and Health One has a company policy to not place liens on property or garnish wages for payment.
So to review, the same hospital that says it's not going to put a lien on your home to get you to pay a bill seemingly has no problem giving privileges to a physician that will use a collections company that's going to do just that. Got it.
Should we not require hospitals to say, if you're going to work in our hospital, you have to agree to take our in-network rates?
State Senator Bob Gardner is contemplating authoring a law for the next legislative session that would do that. And it's not just Swedish. We found surgeons billing out of network at other Health One hospitals, as well as Centura hospitals. Our lien list includes bills from at least 8 metro hospitals.
Don't you owe that to your patients to know more about what's taking place within your walls?
There's just too many variables, and hospitals don't have insight into that any better than the patient does.
Curious to know if even the surgeon who worked on Malone's appendix was aware of what her collections team was doing, I called her.
You have reached the Office of the Emergency, General Surgery, and Trauma Doctors of Swedish Hospital.
She, like almost every doctor I've called about this subject for months, never called me back. As for Malone, not long after we informed the state's Division of Insurance, the state informed him in this letter that he no longer owed the 4-figure bill. His insurance would reprocess the claim and pay the full amount.
This shouldn't be this hard.
No, the whole system it's crazy.
This is a story that really did start with a tip. Her tip.
Tears my heart out because I don't want to give this guy a dime.
6 months ago, Nicole Briggs wanted me to know of a lien on her home. That home. It was there because years prior, she went to Swedish Hospital for an appendectomy. The hospital was in network with her insurance, but no one ever told her the surgeon who would do the surgery was not. So here's where that age-old question of investigative journalism kicks in. Is this an isolated case or part of a pattern? That's what we look for, a pattern. Are there other cases? And over the course of many months, we found more than a few. Here's how we did it. We started with a collections company that sued Nicole Briggs and put the lien on her home. It's a company known as Credit Systems, Inc. County clerk and recorder's offices record each and every lien placed, so we went looking for liens placed by that company in metro area counties. And then we started this, a database. Started putting each lien, the amount, the property in question, and the county where the lien was placed. Eventually, our database grew to more than 170 liens placed since the start of last year by Credit Systems. Over the summer, I started calling each property owner one by one to see if they knew why the lien was there. It wasn't easy. A lot of disconnected lines, changed phone numbers. But once I started finding these people, they started telling me a story like this.
Still ended up in court, still ended up in collections, still ended up with a lien on my house.
Each story provided an additional reminder that Nicole's case was not an isolated one. We've been to courtrooms, doctors' offices, inside homes with liens that threatened to ruin the credits of patients who thought the system worked for them.
Yep.
They no longer believe that.
It affected a lot.
Our series, Lien on Me, represents a sliver of what's going on in Colorado when it comes to surprise medical bills. But it's an important sliver nonetheless, because if you have insurance, this could happen to you. You could get sued, get a lien on your home, get your wages garnished, all for a visit to a hospital that your insurance wants you to go to. If this has happened to you, we want to know about it. Contact us at showusyourbills@9news.com.